Hello, Minnesota DFLers, and welcome to the DFL Daily. Richard Krobbaum here, chair of the Minnesota Democratic Farmer Labor Party. We're with you each and every morning at 10:45 to make sure you have the message, the action, and the tool to be empowered in this moment. And right now there's never been a more important time to find your footing and to be empowered. There's some Supreme Court of the United States news that broke this morning that we want to address directly. States like West Virginia and Idaho brought a case to the Supreme Court to uphold laws banning transgender girls from participating in sports at publicly funded schools. Let me be clear where the DFL stands on the decision on trans student athletes. This did not go the way we had hoped. Politicians need to stay out of decisions that belong to parents, schools, and sports leagues. Republicans need to stop using our kids as political pawns. It's dangerous, it's wrong, and it doesn't help anyone. A court ruling doesn't change who belongs in Minnesota. The Minnesota DFL party unequivocally supports the rights of trans, non-binary, two-spirit, and intersex people to participate fully in society. Minnesota will continue to be a place where everyone belongs and has the freedom to thrive. We'll continue to uphold our civil rights laws and protect the dignity and respect of every single person. Second, the Supreme Court ruling upholding birthright citizenship, Trump's order, was blocked this morning. I'm glad the court, even with some dissent from its most conservative justices, found that the president can't erase the Constitution by executive order. Minnesotans stand in solidarity with our neighbors, classmates, and friends in our state. We are looking out for each other. We've seen what happens when Republicans try to divide Minnesotans by where they come from or who they are. We stood together for decades and will stand together now. We stand with our community who is hurting this morning from the Supreme Court decision, and the DFL will continue to do everything we can to stand up for our neighbors. There's some events coming up that we want to highlight before we get into today's conversation. First off, tomorrow, Wednesday, July 1st, is a busy one at 10 a.m. in Isanti. There's the Common Good Coffee Club hosted by the city of Isanti DFLers. And I think individual, a relaxed way to start the day and connect with neighbors. At 5 p.m. in Chatfield, the Rural Rally for Democracy is happening, a strong showing for our values outside the metro. And then, of course, Friday, July 3rd and Saturday, July 4th, it's 4th of July parade season. There are 4th of July parades everywhere in the state of Minnesota. I've been in dozens in my lifetime, everywhere from St. Joe to Brainerd to Albert Lee and Austin and Blooming Prairie. There's lots going on. I encourage you to find a local 4th of July parade. Last year I was in Forest Lake. There's the Edina one. That's always a massive one, really fun parade. There's a way for you to plug in and bring somebody with you who's never walked in a parade before. The reaction we're getting at parades this summer has been quite inspiring to me. People understand that we are on the front lines doing everything we can to make life more affordable and protect Minnesota from the retribution campaign Republicans and Donald Trump are waging against our people. So please try and find one of these 4th of July parades at dfl.org/events. A couple of them that I mentioned, there's the one in Blooming Prairie. The Steele County DFL is organizing that one. There's the one in Pequot Lakes at 10 a.m. on Saturday, July 4th, and there's the Nissa one on July 3rd. Again, everywhere across Minnesota, please join one of these parades on the 3rd or 4th or more. Some of us will do several parades on the 3rd and 4th. It's how we are engaging and connecting with folks. Okay, we're going to today continue for a third time answering your questions directly. You submitted questions to our team. Our team compiled those questions, and I am ready to answer them. We're going to have Connor Wickland, our digital director, back with us today. He's going to be asking me the questions that you've sent in. And just to be clear, these questions don't have to be about any one topic. Ask us about messaging, ask us about canvassing, ask us about what's happening at the state capitol. Ask us what issues you're hearing about at the door that's confusing or frustrating you. See if we can be helpful. Anything is fair game. And again, we're here to do everything we can to make your job of connecting with voters even easier. All right. So Connor, welcome back to the call. Looks like you got a haircut. Looking good.
Glad to be back.
Let's dive right into it.
Awesome. First question. What is the DFL doing to get behind Trina Swanson in CD8?
Well, Trina's got a real shot here, and her bio, her narrative, the reason she's running is one of the most inspiring reasons I've heard from any candidate who's running for Congress in the state of Minnesota this year. She is the real deal, and I am really excited that she's doing everything she can to connect with voters. So first and foremost, we sat down with Trina's team very early on to talk about what kind of resources we can help and collaborate with her on in terms of her having the endorsement. So first and foremost, that does mean resources. We're pledging staff time, organizing support, and coordinating with our county units across the 8th district, so the campaign isn't building infrastructure from scratch, but rather they have infrastructure built in every corner of the district. It also means visibility. We are working to get her in front of more voters through our own channels. Connor and our digital team and our comms team are constantly thinking about ways in which we elevate her candidacy. We featured her on the DFL Daily, in our emails, on our social media accounts, and making sure when people across the state think about where their energy and dollars should go this cycle, CD8 is top of mind. A seat like this gets won with sustained attention, and it's this kind of election cycle where we can beat Pete Stauber. It means door knocking and volunteer mobilization. In CD8 we have a big, massive volunteer presence and organizing presence. While CD8 is a pretty big district geographically, spread out around northeast Minnesota, we are able to cover a lot of this ground with our organizers and our awesome volunteers. Our weekend of action was huge in the 8th district, and we're able to connect with voters and remind them that they have to vote in the primary and vote with Trina Swanson. If you want to plug in directly, whether that's volunteering, hosting an event, or just sharing her campaign with our own network, reach out to us and to her campaign directly. Connor and team, let's put her social media handles into the chat as well, so people can help us today amplify the work that Trina's doing to connect with people all across the district. All right, next question.
Awesome. Yes, and I am putting in the chat. Trina just posted a new voter campfire chat this morning. Would appreciate your guys' help in getting the word out and maybe bringing a new voter to that event. Next question for you, Richard. What is the DFL going to do to protect Social Security?
Great question. So first, let me say this clearly. Social Security is not a handout. It's a benefit that people paid into their entire working lives. And the DFL's position is that it should never be cut, privatized, or means tested in a way that breaks that promise. In fact, the Republican Party of Minnesota passed their action agenda at their state convention. And quite literally, the first item on their action agenda is to phase out Social Security altogether. That is reprehensible, it's dangerous, and it's going to leave so many seniors in poverty. Social Security is the greatest anti-poverty program that's ever existed in this country, I think around the world, frankly. And we as Democrats will do everything we can to safeguard it. Practically, here's what that looks like. Our federal delegation is working to oppose any effort in Washington to raise the retirement age, cut benefits, or weaken the trust fund. At the state level, we're making sure Minnesota's own retirees, especially on fixed incomes, aren't getting squeezed by other costs that eat into what Social Security is supposed to cover, things like prescription drug costs and property taxes for seniors. We also cut Social Security taxes in the state. We're also going on offense, not just playing defense. Voters deserve to know which candidates have a record of trying to weaken these programs versus which candidates have a record protecting them. That contrast, as I said earlier, is something you're going to hear more about as we get closer to November. The Republican Party platform, again, literally states that they want to phase out Social Security and they want to do it through private investment accounts. If you're knocking doors and this comes up, and I guarantee you it will, the message is simple. DFLers are doing everything we can to protect what you already paid into. The other side, Republicans, have a track record and now a very public commitment to phase Social Security out.
As Kathy said in the chat, this is a big deal, so you will hear about it on the doors and make sure we are setting the record straight on where we stand versus where the GOP stands. Richard, this next question is from a concerned DFLer. They want to know how we are addressing early voting. They wrote in saying they think the DFL needs to do a real big communication push to clarify early voting options and timing.
Fantastic. And yes, you're absolutely right. We are talking about early voting constantly here at the DFL. We're posting on social media about it. We are making sure all of our candidates are well aware of how you can early vote. Here's the thing. Last Friday, I early voted myself at 9 a.m., followed by a press conference with Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, who we're going to elect to the U.S. Senate in November once she wins this primary in August. I early voted on the first day of early voting because we at the DFL believe it's that big of a priority. So there are three ways you can early vote. You can, like me, go to your local elections office. I went to downtown Minneapolis, the Hennepin County Election Center, and it took me 7 minutes. I was in and out. It was super easy. That's the first way, or one of the three ways. The second way, of course, is you can vote by mail. I received, in addition to that, a mail-in ballot. I ripped it up. It spoiled already, discarded it and everything. But that was one of the options I have, is actually voting by mail. You can do that as well. The third option, of course, is to go in person and vote on primary election day, August 11th. One of the biggest things we can do to make sure that we're raising awareness about early vote and the importance of it is by asking our friends, neighbors, and our social networks, what's your vote plan? Connor, what is your vote plan? Have you voted yet in the primary?
I'm going to go on election day because I like to get my little sticker.
Okay, well, I went early and I still got my little sticker. It's on my water bottle. I'll
Oh,
show it
that
to you.
might change things, actually.
uh, we encourage folks to get out there, vote early, but more importantly, I think you all need to constantly be asking your friends, your family, your networks, what is your early vote plan? Tonight, we're going to have the state executive committee meeting online. It'll be virtual. I don't like the first question that I'm going to ask everybody is to put in the comments, what is your early vote plan? I encourage you to do that right now. What is your early vote plan for this August 11th primary? We need to maximize turnout. All right, Connor, what's the next one?
All right. Well, people are leaving their vote plans. This one is about messaging strategy. So someone wrote in, why won't the Democrats develop 5 clear talking points that they all adhere to? The messaging is the issue, and Democrats just don't get it.
Yes. So we actually started this daily call because we wanted to have one unified message. And we wanted to try and encourage as many Democrats as possible to be working off of the same message. I take this question to heart. This is something that our team is working and focused very much on. We are throughout all of our conversations at the door. So I just looked at all the different dashboards. Over 340,000 door knocking attempts we've made so far in 2026. When you compare the UDF, the coordinated campaign, the House and Senate, everybody collectively, over 340,000 door knock attempts. And one of the things we're able to do is identify those issues, and we're able to identify which issues are kind of rising to the top. And so you're going to see the DFL on a consistent basis have very clear and specific talking points around the 5 issues: affordability, democracy, Metro Surge or ICE presence, gun violence prevention, and government accountability. Those are our core contrast votes with Republicans. Those are the same contrast efforts that Republicans are going to try and push as well. We need to be intentional about how we come together with this messaging. The first thing I'll say in messaging broadly for the November election is Democrats have to embody what we want voters to feel about us. I think we embody this attitude of we stand up for one another. Come hell or high water, no matter what we face, no matter what adversity is confronting us, the Supreme Court ruling today is a great example of this. Right now, we need to stand up with our neighbors. We need to make sure that we are standing up and doing everything we can to lock arms with our trans, non-binary, and two-spirit neighbors to make sure they don't feel alone, that they feel protected. This is our job as Democrats. This is who the Democratic Party always has been, and this is why Minnesotans should be proud that they've built the DFL party in this state. And when we do this, we need to embody that attitude that Tina Smith shared when she was asked about Metro Surge, like, Senator Smith, what do you hope happens right now? She looked at the camera and very calmly, she said, just leave us the F alone. Like, it was that direct, right? That is who Democrats are in 2026. We're telling everybody else, Republicans are coming after us. Just leave us alone. We can take care of each other. We've done it for decades in this state, and we're going to continue to do it. We, of course, need to make sure that all of our candidates understand how to talk about affordability, how to talk about democracy, how to talk about Metro Surge, how to talk about gun violence prevention, and how to talk about government accountability and fraud. Like, we need to make sure they have the tight talking point there, and we're working on that to get as much alignment as possible. So I take this question to heart. This is a frustration I've had my entire career in 22 years of organizing in this state. I just want us all to be on the same message.
Completely agree. All right, last question for today. This is a process question. Can we get the PACs to quit running negative ads? Richard,
Yes,
is that
I
something we
wish
can
we
do?
could. I wish I could wave a magic wand and say, only talk nice about your fellow Democrat. But unfortunately, as state party chair, I can't tell an independent PAC or super PAC what they can and cannot communicate. I can criticize them. I don't think the negative campaigning is helping Democrats in any way, shape, or form. What I can do is lead by example. And what I am doing is talking about how amazing Peggy Flanagan is, how Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, who's going to be our U.S. Senate candidate, is bringing more people into the party. She's throwing the doors open and more people are coming in. We have more volunteers this cycle than we've ever had before. We have more people coming to precinct caucuses than we've ever had before. Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan is one of the greatest ambassadors we have with this for this new energy. And I think that is a huge, huge advantage for us electorally, both leading up to the August primary and then also in the November general election.
And I want to encourage folks on this call, you can also help us lead by example. I'm going to drop in the chat a link to DFL Amplify, where we're going to be sharing all of these positive messages from Peggy Flanagan and our other DFL endorsed candidates. And that's how you can show up and help us counter some of the negative pieces that are going out.
All right, we are at time. I want to
That's on
respect
time.
everybody's time. Please do me a favor. If you are following a content creator that shares our DFL values and you'd like them to be part of our broader conversation within this party, where we are pushing out very specific talking points, the person who asked the question before, just give us 5 very specific things to say over and over again. I agree. We're doing that. Let's do it. Let's all get on the same page and let's push this as hard as we can. So help us identify the next content creator who's going to join our cohort that Connor works with directly so that we can make sure that they're empowered. We've got 128 days until the November 3rd midterm election. We're building this coalition together. We're going to continue standing together with our neighbors, no matter what adversity we face, including Supreme Court rulings today. Let's go win this thing. Thanks, everybody.